Hello my dear students. Today I Harshita Mishra will teach you the chapter number 1 of NCERT Biology, class 10, that is reproduction in organism. Before coming to the chapter reproduction in organism, we must know about what is reproduction. Reproduction is a biological process of formation of new offspring from the pre-existing organism, and it becomes a vital process because without this process the species cannot survive for long. And now here are some necessities of reproduction. I have mentioned some few points of necessity of reproduction here. That reproduction is an important characteristic feature of all the living organisms which cannot be seen in the non-living organism, and it can be said as a distinguishing features of living organism. Now the next point is that it is essential life process which not only helps in the survival but also in the continuity of the race and group immortality. And the third is that by reproduction young ones replaces the old and the dying ones, and reproduction also helps in increasing the population of the species in order to maintain the ecosystem balance. And the last but not the least important necessity of reproduction is that it acts as a vehicle of organic evolution by transmitting the advantageous variations to the offspring by as it is the need of the time. Now, what is lifespan? Lifespan is the period from birth to the natural death of an organism which represents its lifespan. Every organism has a specific and average lifespan, and it means every organism grows and lives for a particular length of time. This lifespan, it may range from organism to organism. It may range from a day to 4,000 years. It may range from a day to 100 years. See, upon this lifespan, it has been categorized into 4 stages. But this lifespan can be whatever I have mentioned here, all the 4 stages are the stages that takes place during the sexual reproduction. And this first stage is the juvenility, second is the maturity, third is aging and senescence, and fourth is the death. So in juvenility, what does it mean is this represents that it is the stage when organism starts developing the capacity to reproduce, and after you can see in maturity it is the stage that reproduction starts actually. And the third is the aging and senescence, in which you can see the progressive deterioration of the body of a living being, and this is called aging. And after aging, the sequential senescence takes place. That is the terminal irreversible stage of aging, which is known as once the senescence has taken place, it is irreversible stage that it will go back to the maturity or to the juvenility. Okay, senescence is the aging. Now comes over here death. Death is what? It is the permanent cessation of all the vital activities. Means it is the permanent stoppage of all the vital activities taking place in your body. Like the lifespan of the mayfly is 1 day, housefly has a lifespan of 1 to 4 months, lion have for about 25 years, insects live for a few months, an elephant can live up to the age of 90 years. Similarly, some plants also have their lifespans, they can live for more than 200 years. Here I have shown you the figures along with the lifespan of the organisms. You can see here the housefly with its lifespan, and elephant with the lifespan 70 to 90 years, dog with the 16 to 18 years, and jellyfish. Like this is the figure, and by this figure you can see the lifespan of all the organisms. This is mentioned in this figure. Now, if we talk about reproduction, you know that reproduction is of 2 types. First is asexual reproduction and second is the sexual reproduction. In the simplest means, asexual reproduction takes place by the single parent without the formation of gametes. No gamete formation and no involvement of the 2 parents involved here. Now the sexual reproduction comes here. Sexual reproduction is the reproduction in which the parents of 2 opposite sex involves with the formation and the fusion of gametes. First of all, we will talk about what is asexual mode of reproduction. Asexual reproduction, in this the offsprings which develop through this mode of reproduction, they are exact copy of their parents. And They are genetically identical, hence they are termed as clones. Why they are genetically identical? The question arises here because there is no exchange of the genetic material, like there are no two parents, there is a single parent involved. Single parent is, if single parent is involved, so the genetical material that will transmit to the coming generation or the daughter generation will be the replicate, means the will be the replicate copies of exact the same genetic material which the parent body is having. So there is no mixing, no intermingling of any kind of genetic constituent. That is why they are genetically identical to the parent copy. Asexual reproduction very commonly take place in the unicellular organisms as well as some animals and plants which is having not having so complex level of organization. Asexual reproduction, some other characteristics like in this mode I already told you the new offspring produced by the involvement or participation of only single parent, and the offsprings are not only identical but they are the exact copy of their parent, because in this process single parent divides itself to produce its offspring. Already told you. Now comes your examples of asexually reproducing organisms. Like asexually reproducing organisms comes under some single-celled organisms like amoeba and bacteria, hydra, yeast cells, etc. In which amoeba and the bacteria, they reproduce by kind of a asexual mode reproduction known as binary fission. Hydra and yeast some kind of budding, which is also a mode of asexual reproduction. And the few plant species like ginger, potatoes, sugarcane, agave, bryophyllum by kind of vegetative reproduction, vegetative propagation known as. And there are a few animal species like starfish, black worms, and some kind of this algae also reproduces through fragmentation, a kind of asexual mode of reproduction. This is here a table which shows you the type of asexual reproduction. First is the fission, then fragmentation, budding, vegetative propagation, spore formation, and regeneration. So first we'll discuss about what is budding. See, budding is a kind of a protrusion that a parent body develops, and that protrusion or that bud-like structure in the main parent body completely develops into a body, and completely develops into a complete body, and after developing into a complete body it gets separated on maturation. After separation from the parent body, they can survive as an individual body as their parent body. So here you can see an example I have given of hydra, in which the protrusion is coming over here in this body of hydra, and this protrusion is in the third block. You can see that the hydra is completely developing all these structures like its parent body, and here you can see now it's being completely developed, and after complete development it gets detached or separated due to some kind of damage or trauma conditions from its parent body, and now is able to survive as a new individual as its parent body. This is all about budding here. Now comes the another mode of asexual reproduction, that is binary fission. In this mode of reproduction, what actually happens is the complete cell material, complete cell content divides into the two halves, so that the daughter cells can get the constituents exactly the parent body is having. Like first you can see here the single cell organism of like Kinda monera and Protista reproduced by this kind of cell division called binary fission. Here you can see a parent cell, and this parent cell genetic material or genetic material will be the cytoplasm and the your chromosome, chromatids and all. This will duplicate. Here the DNA duplication is taking place. This DNA duplication, genetic material duplication is taking place. What DNA? DNA is your genetic material, and here the duplication of genetic material is taking place, and after the duplication of genetic material has taken place, the cell inclusions start developing, depressions start developing, and it finally results into such a depression that will separate the cell into the two halves, which will be the new body. Two daughter cells will get the two daughter cells over here after the end of the fission, and can be seen in the organisms like amoeba and the paramecium. Fragmentation. In this fragmentation, the multicellular organisms generally are involved in this fragmentation, in which an organism body splits into fragments, and that fragments have the capacity to regenerate into a new individual. And this fragmentation and regenerations are very much related with each other, and those the parts which are splitted or fragmented of the main parent body have the capacity to completely regenerate as like the main parent body. And this splitting that occurs is not done intentionally. It may be some kind due to some kind of man-made or natural damage by the environment or by some predators. And this kind of organism may develop specific organs and zones that may shed easily or are broken off. Means that they have some kind of zones or organs that have the capacity to be very easily shed off due to some kind of damage or by the activity of predators. This is fragmentation. The another mode of asexual mode of reproduction, that is spore formation, it generally takes place in fungi and bacteria, and here I have mentioned the Rhizopus, which is one of the fungus, and this Rhizopus contains a spore containing body known as sporangia, in which the spores are contained here, and these spores upon bursting disperse in the environment, and on getting the favorable condition these spores start germinating into a new body. And these spores are generally microscopic, round in shape, and they need a suitable conditions for their germination. This is another mode of asexual reproduction through spore formation. The similar spore formation takes place in bacteria also. Now we'll discuss another mode of asexual reproduction, that is vegetative propagation method. This vegetative propagation method can be done naturally as well as by artificial means also. So first of all, we'll discuss all the natural means of vegetative propagation methods. Vegetative propagation, before going through the natural means and artificial means, we must know about that what is actually vegetative propagation. It is a form of asexual reproduction that is occurring in plants in which a new plant grows from a fragment of the parent plant or a specialized reproductive structure. And these many plants naturally reproduce by this way, but can also be induced artificially. That's why it can be done by natural means as well as through artificial means. And some of the horticulturists have developed asexual propagation techniques that uses vegetative plants to replicate the plants, and the success rates and difficulties of propagation varies greatly. And in monocots, they generally lack the vascular cambium, so therefore it becomes harder for the monocotyledons to propagate. Now the types of vegetative propagation by natural means. Natural vegetative propagation is mostly a process which found in the herbaceous and woody perennial plants, and it typically involves structural modifications of the stem, although it may be horizontal underground part of the plant. It may be a stem, leaf or root, and it contributes to the vegetative reproduction of a plant. And the second, that most of the plant species that survive and significantly expand by vegetative reproduction would be perennial, already told you by the definition. And since these specialized organs of vegetative reproduction like seeds of annuals serves to survive seasonally in a very harsh conditions. And these plants, upon persistence in a location through vegetative reproduction of individuals, can survive for a long period of time so that it can maintain or constitute a clonal colony. And the most common modified stems, leaves and roots that allow for vegetative propagations are hair runners, also known as stolons. And these stolons are kind of a modified stem which arises from the main plant, and upon the favorable conditions they start germinating into a new plant upon the soil surface. And as they are propagated, the buds on the modified stems produce roots and stems and develops into a complete new plant. These bulbs are the inflated parts of the stem within which lie the central shoots of the new plants, and they are typically underground and are surrounded by the plump and the layered leaves. And there is a such difference between bulb and comb that bulbs are surrounded by a plump and layered leaves, so therefore the combs are very much different from bulbs. They are surrounded by the laden tissues. Instead of being surrounded by the layered leaves, they are surrounded by the laden tissues that provide nutrients to the new plants. Here the layered leaves and the plump are for the nutrition, to provide the nutrition to the new developing bulbs, and after getting at the end, after reaching to the end of the season, these bulbs separate from the parent bulbs and develop into the daughter bulbs. And the examples of some of the bulbs are, I have mentioned here of onion, but we can take the examples of some another kinds of bulb formation taking place through vegetative propagation. Used for vegetative propagations are like in gladiolus, in onion, in the bulbs of plant lily. These are all vegetatively propagated through the formation of bulbs. Now the tubers they develop from either from the stem or from the root, and the stem tubers grow from the rhizomes or runners that swell from storing nutrients, while tubers propagate from roots that are modified to store nutrients and get too large and produce a new plant. This here I have mentioned one of the most known examples of tuber, that is potato, and these potatoes start germinating through eye buds. These are the potato eye, and this eye buds, these potato eyes are responsible for germinating the eye bud, and later on the eye buds start developing into the new shoot-like structures, and these new shoot-like structures later on develops into a complete plant. And these complete plant is through the formation of tuber, and these tuber are the swollen bodies which are in the form of stored nutrients. Now here I've discussed corms, which are solid and large underground stems that store nutrients in the fleshy and solid stem tissue, and which are surrounded by papery leaves. And corms differ from bulbs in that their center consists of the solid tissues, while that of the bulbs are consist of the layered leaves. And the common examples of corms can be seen in alocasia, colocasia, crocus, turmeric, means curcuma longa. Now here is the suckers, which are also known as root sprouts or suckers, are plant stems that arises from the base of the main stem, and on going to the base of the plant, they start developing stems, or they start developing the adventitious roots, and these adventitious roots later on develop into the new plants. And the most common example of suckers are mint, and I have mentioned here the vegetative propagation by sucker of chrysanthemum, and apples and banana trees are also examples of such kind of vegetative propagation, means suckers. Now the last plantlets, which can be plantlets, are also the source of vegetative propagation in plants. And these plantlets are actually what are the miniature structures which arises from the meristems and the leaf margins, and these leaf margins, when eventually start developing roots and drop off from the leaf and start growing into the new plant. And first the most common example here given is of bryophyllum, which is also known as the mother of thousands for its many plantlets. And see, here is the main plant of bryophyllum, and here the leaves are sprouting from the leaf. Plantlets are sprouting from the edges of the margin, and after from the in the second very figure, after these leaves get detached from the parent plant, this leaf when will fall in the soil, it start developing the root-like structure, roots, which later on develop into the complete plant. And each plantlet miniatures are responsible for the development of the complete plant through asexual mode of reproduction, that is through vegetative propagation from the plantlets. Now we'll discuss about the artificial means of vegetative propagation. And the vegetative propagation of particular cultivars that have desirable character is very common practice. Means that in this kind of vegetative propagation, if you need to insert, or if you need to develop the desirable characteristic in your plant, you need to have the do the artificial means of vegetative propagation. And there are several means of artificial vegetative propagations, like through cutting, layering, grafting, tissue culture, and offset. And this is usually done by the farmers and horticulturists to produce their better crops with the desirable qualities. Here is the artificial propagation in a figure. You can see the tissue culture being done in vitro in the laboratory preparations, and this is the cutting, this is layering, this is grafting, and this is air layering. The two types of layering is simple layering and air layering, mound layering or air layering. We'll come to the first, cutting. In this, cutting is a part of the plant which is usually a stem taken or a leaf is cut off from the plant, and the adventitious roots grow from that cuttings, and that new plant eventually develops. And usually those cuttings are treated with the hormones which are lacking in that that plant from which we have taken. So you will apply all the hormones which is very good for the to induce the good growth in the plant. And plant hormones I was earlier discussed in class 11. So all the plant hormones, I guess you all know about all the plant hormones. So these cuttings are later on, after cuttings are also treated with the hormones before being planted to induce the growth factors in them. And for example of cuttings, it can be seen in the rose and hibiscus. Now the another artificial means of assertive propagation is grafting, in which it involves attaching a scion, means a scion is that desired cutting to the stem of the another plant, which is called the stalk. Scion is actually what? It is actually the desired cutting which is taken from the another plant, and it will be inserted into the another plant which is called the stalk, and that remains rooted in the ground. And that scion will have all the desired characteristics which you need to insert in your stalk. This is called grafting, and eventually both the tissues after being grafted, the tissue system starts being grafted or integrated, and a plant will develop all the desired characteristics of the grafted plant. And for example of grafting can be seen in the mango and guava and many others also. And now here is the third, layering, which is a process in which it includes the bending of the plant branches or stems so that it touches to the ground and covered with the soil. After that, the adventitious root develops from that underground part of the plant, which is known as the layer. And this method of assertive propagation also occurs naturally, and it can also be induced artificially also in the case it is not happening. And another similar method also takes place in the layering is air layering, which involves the scrapping and the replanting of the tree branches, which develops into. This is tissue culture, which is another mode of vegetative propagation. In this tissue culture, the plant cells are taken from the various parts of the plant and are cultured and nurtured in a sterilized container. These sterilized container and this cultured medium are all provided in the in vitro condition, means in the lab conditions. This all tissue culturing is done in the lab conditions, provided with the artificial mediums, like artificial medium of they are provided hormones and nutrient mediums in a culture, and that after the culturing is being done, after keeping it for a few time, like for an incubation period of near about 1 to 5 days, 1 to 10 days, depending upon the plants being taken. So after that, you will see that the plant will develop small plantlets, and later on those plantlets will eventually develop into the new grown plant. This is all tissue culture. And now comes here the last, offset, artificial means of vegetative propagation, in which the offset, in this the lower part of the single comb with the rhizome axis is basal to it and its roots, and that basal roots contain some root pockets, and those root pockets form some adventitious roots, and that eventually develops into the new grown plants. And here I have given, I guess, examples of Pistia and Echinaria. These offsets can be seen in the planting or propagating bamboo trees also. This is here you can see the black and white figure of layering, the mode of artificial means of vegetative propagation, in which you can see the main plant body is bent to the soil surface, is bent towards the soil surface, and that part which is bent towards the soil surface starts developing roots. These roots later on develop into the new plant, like the parent plant. This is all about layering. And here you can see the grafting. Grafting, in this the scion and stalks. The scion is that part of the plant which with the desired characteristics, which is to be induced in the stalk that is already planted in this soil. And after the grafting union is being done, they are wrapped and waxed. After wrapped and waxed being after some time, you will see that plant will develop the characteristic of that scion, which is to be inserted into the stalk plant. And here is the tissue culture. You can see this is tissue culture. This is the plant, potted plant is being potted, complete potted plant is here, and from this potted plant, and we isolate some cells or we excise some pieces of leaf, and after that excision, you will keep those all cells or whatever you have taken part of the plant in a nutrient medium. This is the petri dish in which all the isolated cells and excised piece of leaves are kept. Either you can keep the excised piece of leaves. This is said now, any part of the plant means ki either you can take the excised piece of leaves, either you can take some isolated cells callus from that part of the plant and keep it in the petri dish, which is already laden with some hormone laden medium, nutrients and all those components which are required for the growth of the plant. And later on, keeping it for some period of time, you can see in the another petri dish some plantlets are start developing, and these plantlets, after being taken out from those petri dish, they will be able to develop into a new grown plant. This is all done in the in vitro condition, means this is all done under the laboratory set condition. This is all about here the asexual mode of reproduction, in which we have discussed all about the asexual means of reproduction from budding to grafting and tissue culture. This is all done here. Asexual mode of reproduction is complete over here, and after this asexual mode, I'll discuss in my later slides about the sexual mode of reproduction, menstrual cycles, oestrus cycles, and every kind of sexual reproduction taking place in an organism.